I should start by saying this isn't a story about monsters or the supernatural. It's about how vulnerable silence can make you and how quickly routine can turn against you. I've been hard of hearing since I was a teenager. Not deaf, but close enough that I rely heavily on context, body language, and routine sounds to feel safe. When something breaks that pattern, I notice. Or at least, I should notice. This happened late last winter, just after the holidays. The decorations were down, the guests were gone, and life had returned to its quiet, predictable rhythm. I live alone in a modest neighborhood at the edge of a wooded conservation area in southern Quebec. It's the kind of place where people wave but don't talk much, and where you recognize cars more than faces. That quiet is usually comforting. I walk my dog, Atlas, every day. He's large, calm, and observant in a way that makes me feel safer than any lock ever could. In winter, we stick to the forest trails nearby. They're well marked, flat, and familiar enough that I don't need to worry about getting lost something. I'm very conscious of because yelling for help wouldn't do me much good. That afternoon was unremarkable, overcast, cold, but not bitter. Snow had fallen overnight, just enough to soften the ground without hiding it completely. Atlas pulled ahead, like always when we reached the trail entrance, his breath puffing white in the air. About 40 minutes in, I realized something was off. Not dramatically, nothing obvious. Just the absence of what should have been there. No birds, no distant traffic, no wind moving through the trees. I stopped walking and became very aware of my own breathing. We sound all like our feet press against ye when you're already here. Atlas froze. His ears went back. His posture stiffened. He didn't growl. He didn't bark. He just stared down the trail behind us. I turned, expecting to see another walker. Someone with a dog, maybe a jogger. Instead, I noticed footprints in the snow, large, deep, fresh, and not layered beneath mine. They weren't there before. That realization hit slowly. I replayed the last half hour in my head. I hadn't passed anyone, I was sure of that. I would have noticed the vibration of footsteps, the crunch of snow. The prints followed us, but not directly. They stayed just off the trail, like whoever made them didn't want to be seen from straight on. I leashed Atlas and headed back. I didn't run. Running felt like admitting fear, and fear can cloud judgment. Instead, I walked faster than normal, counting steps, scanning reflections in the snow. Every so often, Atlas would glance back and stiffen again. I never heard footsteps. I never heard breathing. That was worse. When we reached the edge of the neighborhood, I finally relaxed. Houses mean witnesses, light, noise, predictability. I didn't tell anyone what happened. I convinced myself it was paranoia, someone cutting through the woods. A coincidence. That night, I locked the doors out of habit and went to bed early. I woke up because Atlas nudged my hand, hard, urgent. He only does that when something is wrong. Mi phone c'est 2h58. I noticed a text from my neighbor asking if everything was okay because Atlas had been barking non-stop. That didn't make sense. Atlas wasn't barking. He wasn't even in the room anymore. I followed him downstairs and found him rigid in front of the patio door. Hackles raised, teeth bared, barking in sharp, violent bursts I could feel through the floor. The motion light outside flicked on. There was a man standing just beyond the glass. He wasn't trying to hide. He wasn't moving. He was facing the door, hands at his sides, head slightly tilted, as if listening. I realized then what terrified me the most. He knew I couldn't hear him. I backed away slowly and locked myself in the bedroom with Atlas, gripping my phone so tightly my hands cramped. I texted emergency services because speaking felt impossible. Waiting felt endless. À some point, Atlas lunged toward the bedroom door, barking again. A shadow passed beneath it. Slow, deliberate. Denarting. When police arrived, the man was gone. The patio glass was shattered outward. The gate leading back to the forest stood open. No signs of forced entry inside. No fingerprints they could use. Just footprints in the snow leading away. I never heard from the police again. I still live there. I still walk Atlas. But I don't go into the woods anymore. And every night, before I turn off the lights, I stand very still, listening for the silence to change.